everybody, welcome back to today's Criticless Cast Unhinged. Today we are going to be reviewing the brand new Twisters, which is a sort of sequel to the 1996-ish, maybe, Twister. This movie is directed by Lee Issac Chung. We will have a non-spoiler review, and then we will jump into a more in-depth spoiler review. Let's get it.
Warning. The following show features reviews from wildly unprofessional critics operating without the supervision of professionals. The thoughts and opinions held by these individuals are not to be taken seriously and do not come from a place of intellectual integrity. This show doesn't reflect the opinions of Criticless or its users. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hey, everybody. As you can see, it's not the usual gang. I'm Matt, and I'm joined tonight by the beautiful Zena Verlac.
Also known as Wine Fiend on Criticless.
She sure is. And there'll just be the two of us. Chris and Blaine are on vacation mode, hopefully not getting sucked away by a tornado.
So cheesy.
Well, I mean, it's appropriate for this kind of movie to be a little cheesy. So, all right. So, Twisters. This movie, as I said earlier, was directed by Lee Issac Chung. It is written by Mark L. Smith, Joseph Kosinski, and Michael Crichton, which isn't Joseph Kosinski the writer of Twister? Do you know?
No, I got hung up on Michael Crichton.
Yeah, Michael Crichton coming in to write Twisters. Here we are. So, this is starring Daisy Edgar-Jones, Glen Powell, and Anthony Ramos. I think it's Ramos. And then there's a handful of other people that you will recognize. Some of them aren't in it that long, and some of them just have little cameos. So, all right. To start off, let's just go ahead and do our spoiler-free review. Zena, I'll start with you.
Okay. Do we want to talk about like our scores first, or what's the vibe here?
Yeah, I mean, that could be part of it. We could start with just say your score, and then we can talk about just in general things we liked.
Okay. So, full send, 100%. 100%.
Okay.
I fucking love this movie. I want to see it again.
Yeah.
I probably won't get to see it again in theater, but I'm obsessed with it. Every single part of it. The soundtrack is amazing. I can't wait to talk about it more. But that's how I feel right now.
All right. So full send, 100%.
Yep.
Most excellent.
Done and done. Yeah.
And you would say this is a must see in theaters. Go out there, go see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because it has like an excellent impact in theater. Like you get like the volume that you need to be able to fully immerse yourself into seeing this kind of movie.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think it's important to see it. And also the soundtrack, just that alone is worth seeing in theater.
Sure. That's fair. All right. So my turn. I'm going to give it a 90%.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. I've been trying to play it cool at home. I saw it 2 days ago, and Zena saw it today. Or I saw it yesterday. She saw it today.
Well, today.
Yeah, we'll call it today. It's 1:30 in the morning. We're having a wee bit of a late night or / early morning here in the household. So, yeah, this movie was awesome. I had goosebumps the majority of the movie, which is the same exact thing which happened to me in the first Twister. This movie was just,
I think it was more emotional, honestly. I had more emotion during this movie. There were multiple scenes where I cried. There was one scene where I full on had like heaving sobs. Like it was just such a powerful movie. Like the scenes that they showed with the families that they're helping, and I just feel like they did such a good job with that for this movie. That really, it was kind of done with, what was her name, Aunt May in Twister. You
I don't
had
think her
like,
name was May, but yeah, the aunt in Twister.
is Aunt May her aunt
Spider-Man.
in True Blood? Who is she in True Blood?
I don't remember.
Anyway, so someone look that up.
She was in there. Someone fact check us because we were gonna forget this
She's
conversation.
the grandma in True Blood. So, but no, I just think like that was our main emotion in Twister was
Yeah.
her, and in this we see multiple towns and multiple families
Mhm.
and the impact that tornadoes have in Tornado Valley. So
Yeah, and I mean, we see. Well, so we live in North Carolina. We don't have a ton of tornadoes, but we do see on the news the impacts, and we do have them on the occasion. So for us, it's not like as like it's still impactful on us, but I almost feel like I wonder what people in the Midwest like would watch this, and I wonder how they would feel because it's one thing to be like, man, tornadoes are crazy. I saw it in a movie,
mhm.
but then to actually like live that stuff, like, I wonder what your parents would think if they saw this.
Oh, I know. I keep thinking about my mom. Like, I want my mom to see this so bad because I will say this 1,000 times in my life. I always say this because I think it's hilarious. And this is from my mom herself. Hi, mom, if you're watching. Um, she is president of the Bill Paxton fan club. So she loves Bill Paxton. So Twister, I watched 1,000 times as a kid. It's a great movie. I literally just watched it last time I was at her house with her.
Mhm.
So we all did. And so I would love to see her opinion on this. Like I hope that she likes it as much as we did. And especially now living in Tornado Valley too.
Right.
I
Right.
wonder how she would feel now. But I mean, growing up and having family in Kansas, like obviously I did see the impacts when I would be out there
Mhm.
for summer break and stuff. So, it is a scary, and tornadoes have always been like one of those things I have nightmares about.
Yeah, and I feel like this movie did a great job of being maybe too great of a job of being like these are crazy acts of nature. Where the first Twister was, there's a couple that are really bad, and then this movie seemed to have a lot more that were really bad. But I mean, they did cover it by saying these were like what they say it was like a freak show year or something like
Freak
that.
show.
Freak show.
Total freak show. No, I mean, they said it was like a freak of nature tornado episode or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I'm like, it could be like a 95% for me for stuff like that.
Yeah. There's some things we can get into
Yeah.
in a couple minutes. All right. So the next thing I want to do before we get into our spoilers review,
Okay.
we're going to go through the Criticless Sliders and kind of talk about what we think each slider would be,
Okay.
just so the audience can have a general idea. All right, everybody, as you can see now, this is criticless.com. If you haven't already, you should get on here, create an account, start reviewing movies and TV shows. What that means, what we're here for. We're here for general
Entertainment.
Yeah, entertainment. We're here for having a good time and having in-depth, awesome discussions. As you can see, I have Twisters pulled up here. We actually already have 9 reviews. That's pretty awesome. One more, and we'll have a audience score. So after Xena and I post ours, we will have a score. But we're going to go ahead and pretend to add our score. Based on what we were just discussing, we're going to be up here in the most excellent, sitting somewhere in the mid to upper 90s. All right. Is there graphic language, Xena?
I don't recall any graphic language, but we've talked about this before. I am really bad at remembering any kind of language at all.
Yeah.
So I have no idea, honestly.
This is literally what we say almost every single time. It's like, well, maybe. I am pretty sure there is some cursing, so I would put this personally somewhere. I think a bit is where I put
everything
this.
as a bit because I cannot be trusted. So I just put a bit. So if anyone is nervous about curse words, it's covered. But I literally am never gonna know. I'm the worst person to ask.
Okay. All right. How about violence?
It is pretty violent in terms of like impact of the tornadoes. I mean,
Yeah.
the opening scene is freaking brutal.
Right. So do you think a
It's
bit
not
more?
it's not blood and gore.
Mm-hmm.
There's very little blood. I think there's like 3 times that there's actual visible blood.
Yeah.
Um and it's very minor,
Mm-hmm.
but there is like some significant violence.
Yeah. So I personally would say a bit more. Is that something you'd agree with?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's more than Twister.
Sure.
Like, I
Yes.
mean, Twister, I would watch with Riggs. Like, I don't know, probably when he's like 5.
Yeah. Give him a healthy. Give
um,
him some healthy scares of nut
but
tomatoes early on.
like,
Yeah.
I think like Twisters. I don't know if I wouldn't watch that young. With
Yeah.
him,
That's fair. Okay.
just because of the violent part alone.
Next, nudity and sexual content.
None.
None. I agree.
Yeah, none.
All right. What about
Which
political?
was refreshing. I just want to say it was refreshing
Yeah.
because it's like a little romance going on, and
Yeah.
you
But you don't
don't-
have like a sexual
mm-mm.
component to it.
Yeah, you don't at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. All right. Political bias. Now, this is an interesting one.
This is where I wish Criticless didn't have a left or right, but just bias at all.
Mhm.
Like, because there are things mentioned that I feel like create a political bias, and one of those being cloud seeding.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I can't, it's not left or right. It's just shit that's
Right.
being done. So I'm like,
It's.
I don't know how to phrase that.
I don't either. I was thinking about that while I was watching this,
Mhm.
and I would probably leave it at none, but have a write up,
I think so too.
which you can
because
do because you just select, is it in my rating? Even though you're saying none, and then you can write something up here to kind of tell people what's going on and explain yourself. So I think I'll have a write up. I don't know exactly what I'm going to put there yet, but something.
I'm gonna be like, conspiracy theorists unite over cloud seeding. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, but there's another facet to it I don't want to bring up because it is a spoiler
Yeah.
that is interesting.
I mean, Glen Powell's character, period,
Mm-hmm.
to me, like, I don't know how much we want to get into it right now. We can wait.
We'll wait.
But
We'll wait.
there is aspects to his character alone.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, then to wrap up the sliders, family friendliness, which we kind of already touched on.
I would say like medium. What is it?
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say maybe and just kind of put the caveat in there. Like there's, as I've said before, there's, some violence. There's some things that are hard to watch
Mm-hmm.
that are, maybe not great for a 5-year-old to see or a 6-year-old to see. But
Mm-hmm.
then again, if you have a desensitized child and you're showing them this kind of stuff all the time, then maybe they're,
I saw, but he was probably 7 or 8 in the
Yeah.
theater. I mean, that's probably fine.
Yeah.
For
And it might be
most of
something
it.
that's kind of over their head or
Yeah.
something that they're already kind of seeing and they're like, oh, well, this isn't that bad kind of deal.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I guess it's going to be a case by case situation.
I agree.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Let's get into the spoiler talk. Let's get down to the nuts and bolts of what we liked and maybe weren't as cool on.
Okay, spoilers ahead.
Yes.
Spoilers are ahead.
Yes.
So, all right.
You start off. Let's go.
Want to talk about Glen Powell.
All right.
Hey, this man, beautiful. He's absolutely
He's
beautiful.
good looking. He's got a jaw.
That man has a jaw.
That is
for real.
a chiseled ass jaw.
Yep, and his 5 o'clock shadow, amazing, chef's kiss. But his character, this is what I mentioned earlier. They paint him like he's some fucking redneck.
Yeah.
And he's just a loser YouTuber, and then you find out like he's a person. I appreciated that a lot. I felt like because when that started, I was a little bit nervous. I was like, where are we going with this?
Mhm.
Like, is this gonna be something where they're just like hard right on this or something?
Yeah.
And they actually ended up making his character really awesome, and we saw a lot of depth happening in his character
Right.
for an action movie. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't expect to see like the level of character development we saw in all the characters, literally all of them.
Most of them.
The main characters.
Yeah.
And then because like think about what's his face, the Stormpar guy.
Oh yeah.
Like he had excellent character growth too, and so did Kate. So I mean, I was just really impressed with that, and but it did make me nervous that they were just gonna make him seem like an idiot.
Yeah, and that was one thing I really liked, was when we saw later in the movie, and they're both at her mom's house, and he's like, well, no, wait, this is like some good ideas. Why did you like give up on, like, let's dig into this stuff? And I was not expecting that. That to me was quite a surprise. I didn't know where they were going necessarily with that character, because I was like, oh yeah, maybe he's a cowboy, maybe he's just here to hang out, or just showboat. And then they grew, and he was like, yeah, let's figure this out, let's help.
That scene, like when he showed up at her mom's house, like honestly irked me at first, because I was like, she didn't jump at him. She just accepted that he was in her private space. And this would be the only thing probably that I would mark down points for if I was going to do that. But she was just, and he like is forthcoming, is like, yeah, blah blah blah, like found you.
Yeah.
But it's like, bitch, why aren't you asking why this man is in your barn? Like, I don't know.
Just chasing. It's kind of like, well, the way I looked at it.
It bothered me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It bothered me for a second, but it was one of those interesting things because he's a storm chaser.
Yeah.
And he's trying to chase, in my mind, he's chasing a storm. She is this enigma to him in his world, because he is his own little circle. He is his own weather pattern.
Yeah.
And she's a competing weather pattern that like he's becoming addicted to, more or less.
Oh,
where he's
man,
like,
I love this. This is such a good, like, look at you, a little romantic heart over here. And then, I mean, that comes full circle with the very end, right?
Yeah.
Where he says, or she says, this is the time to chase or not.
Yep.
And he was like, should I chase? And he has this look, which I feel like, I've seen before. And when men are just like, what the fuck am I supposed to take from this? Like, what is this woman saying to me?
Right.
And he chases her. That's fucking awesome. Like, I love that. And I love their story, like, just in general, because it is a slow burn.
Yeah. And, I actually really appreciate that too, because as we know in the story, we have, what's his face? Anthony Ramos, who's been our friend since forever. He's there from the beginning. They both lose 3 of their friends in the beginning of the movie, and it's very traumatic, and they both go their own ways. And he obviously, even in the very beginning, was like held a torch for her, and obviously had a boyfriend. He dies, she goes on her own way, and he's still holding that torch for her. And I feel like this is something we don't see in movies a lot.
Yeah.
Where we get this time gap, and in a lot of movies it's, oh, well, she finds that she actually really loves him, or like has feelings for him, and they move forward. And in this movie, no, we got a cowboy that shows up, but they have the same passion and the same
mindset. Like,
what's the where you're giving to your community? I don't know. Either way, they both like care for their community.
Yeah.
And so they have the same heart, and they don't necessarily like, and they have a connection. And that's where they build a relationship, where he has the same like love for storms, but he's more, I'm making money off of it. And I think that's where it's interesting to see this divergence. And I don't think we've seen that I don't watch a lot of rom-coms or romance movies, but I feel like I don't see that a lot in movies.
Yeah, I really like that they let the best friend stay the best friend.
Even though he was trying to like be more than that.
Yeah, well, and she just kind of like played him off a little bit, and like she was like, no, let's not hang out tonight, like maybe tomorrow night, and just kind
Mhm.
of let him down gently.
Yeah.
And it ends up being where the movie didn't force them together, thank God. And they end up having like a really awesome relationship by the end of the movie. And
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'm like, not every man needs to be who you're with in a freaking movie.
Right.
And so, because it gives like this false reality, I feel like, to people that watch this, they get in
Yeah.
situations like impressionable people get in situations where they're like, oh, this is normal. And it's like, no, you don't have to settle for what you feel like you should be settling for. And not that he's awful or anything, but he just wasn't for her. And so I think like her going on and finding someone that fit for her
Mhm.
is awesome. And I'm glad we got to see that. And it wasn't just we were shoved into this like,
Forced relationship.
yeah, exactly. And but I do want to go back and talk about the intro scene
Sure.
where I thought these were our main characters, right? We're
Yeah.
introduced to these people that we've seen before. I can't remember where we've seen the other female actress of the
She was
beginning.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh, that's where it was. Okay. So we see them and I'm like, oh, they're clearly the main actors.
Yeah.
I was like already like, okay, here's our funny guy. This is like our Philip Seymour Hoffman role. Here, like
Mhm.
I was already like assigning roles. And then they all fucking die. They literally all died, y'all. And I was just like, in the first what, like 10 minutes?
Yeah, 3 out of the 5 main
It,
people die.
yeah, like
Just dead.
yeah. And I was like, oh shit. And I like teared up a little bit at that.
Mhm.
But the scene that got me
Yeah.
was the pool scene when
Oh.
they are like taken off guard at a rodeo. So Kate and Glen Powell, Tyler Irwin's, that's his name. I was like, it's Glen Powell. I don't know.
Just Glen Powell.
He takes her to a rodeo because he thinks that she's a New Yorker
Mhm.
and she's never seen a rodeo. And so he takes her, and there ends up being a tornado that comes, and
Mhm.
the alert system doesn't get to them in time, and so they're like trying to help people, and that's really what the whole theme of the movie is about, is them trying to help people. And which is a powerful theme for a
Right.
movie, because I feel like we don't get that a whole lot anymore. And so they're helping this mom and daughter and an older man, and then like two people that were working for the hotel. And the two people in the hotel, or that were working for the hotel, get in a truck, and we all know.
No, those are just randos.
Are they random? The
Yeah.
one girl works for the hotel, I thought.
No. They were both just randos.
Okay.
And he was, because the one guy was like, "Oh, I don't want my money. Like
Okay.
your internet sucks."
Yeah.
They were like, she was like, "Oh, there's no sirens, there's no tornadoes," and nobody in the Midwest would be saying that if somebody
Right.
came busted
Okay.
in.
I thought that they worked for the hotel. But anyway, so they go and get in their truck and they leave.
Yeah.
We all know trucks, tornadoes, we've seen it. They go up into the tornado.
If a
That's what
cow can
happens.
fly, a truck can fly.
Exactly. And so they are trying to save the rest of the people that are still there. And all they manage to save really are the girl and the mom.
Yeah.
And it's just a really scary, like somber scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I was like, had heaving sobs during that scene.
Yeah.
Like, it was such a powerful scene. And just thinking about humans, like helping other humans.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And I just don't feel like we see that enough. I really don't.
You're right. Yeah, we don't see a lot of movies where, and it tends to be like natural disaster movies where we do see that, because I think that's where most humans can agree, and they can set aside like political divides and varying opinions, and almost everybody can agree like natural disasters are scary. Like they make your skin have goose pimples and things like that, because it's crazy to think what we take for granted could be so dangerous. That particular scene I also loved, because I think for the main character, Kate Carter, it was like a driving home moment for her because it was the mom and daughter.
Is her name Kate Carter?
Yes.
Okay.
I have IMDb up because I don't
Okay.
remember anybody's names.
I didn't even ever know her last name.
Yeah. Well, because she doesn't say it very much. She's constantly like, no, you can just call me Kate.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to
No
go off
problem.
track.
But I think that helped Kate be like, I need to go home because my
Mhm.
mom has always been there for me. And, she's been putting off going back to her mom ever since her friends all died and things like that. So that was another like key moment for Kate's development where she
Mhm.
goes home. So I really liked that scene. But so this kind of gets into some of my beefs with the movie. There was some times where like things fell from the sky just strategically, I felt, and just to progress the movie. So like when, I don't know what it was, like a truck or something fell and Glenn had to like crawl out around the pool to like try to save the manager. And
Yeah.
to me, that just felt kind of like
Well,
set.
it happened so many times
Mm-hmm.
that I could see that being a downfall.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really bother me just because I
It just takes me out of
am
the movie
obsessed
a
with
little
it.
bit. Yeah.
But I mean, I could see how that would be an issue. And I mean, I did want to talk about how they were clearly trying to make this a borderline a horror movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think someone on
The movie
Criticless said,
Waffler. Yeah.
Movie Waffler said it should have just been a horror movie. And I don't know if I can't remember if that was just saying it was that bad or if
So,
if he was saying like it is a horror movie.
uh-huh.
But there were several jump scares. Like there were full on jump scares in this movie. And one of them was a chicken.
Yes. Yes.
And if you didn't jump at that, well then okay. But there was a chicken that jumped onto the hood of the truck and
Yeah.
scared the bejesus out of me.
Well, I'm sad I missed that because I did not jump at the chicken.
And but like the pool scene, that was a jump scene.
Yeah.
I mean, like pretty much every tornado scene, there was a jump scene in it, a
Mhm.
jump scare, and I like that. Honestly, I'm like tornadoes are scary as fuck. Like, let's make it
Yeah.
scary.
Honestly, I didn't mind it. Like, I didn't think of it as a horror movie when I was watching. I didn't think, oh, they're trying to make this a horror movie by any means. I think to me, they were just trying to add a level of getting somebody to respect tornadoes.
Yeah,
And it was, how do we make tornadoes scary enough while also entertaining enough? Because we have Glen Powell's character driving into tornadoes to record for his YouTube channel and set off rockets.
Kid, hold on. I need to talk about this because I need to talk about the euphoria I had leaving the theater because I was like, holy shit, this movie is bad ass.
Yeah.
Like, there was something like so American and like just awesome about this movie. Like, I felt like 4th of July all over again. Like, I feel like I was like inside of Independence Day. Like, it was awesome. Like, it truly showed like how ridiculous some of the stuff that we do is.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the scenes is Glen Powell taking his big ass truck into a hurricane, a tornado,
Yeah.
and shooting fireworks into it.
Yeah.
Like, freaking amazing.
Yeah. That to me, like, the hair on my skin, like my arms went up, and you know me, like I love going out in hurricanes and stuff. I was like, man, I want to go do this. Like, I want to go ride a tornado.
I know. I could imagine. There were several scenes where I was like, this is Matt. This is Matt, 1000%. And one of those scenes was the backwards hat. He gets in a serious, like, Glen Powell takes off the cowboy hat. He doesn't even have it on in the scene. And it's like when he and Kate are like in it
Mm-hmm.
and they're like going to try and figure out her, like, science, whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't
science,
even.
whatever.
It's not like
It's something.
I'm like, is this real science? I don't know. But he's doing that, and he's clearly like in the zone, and he's not the Tyler Owens tornado wrangler. It's
Yeah.
just him, and he has his backwards hat on.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is some shit Matt would do. Because if you guys don't know, this man lives in a backwards hat, and I love it. And but I love that scene because it
Yeah.
showed like it kind of like anyone that knows someone that is a hat wearer
Mhm.
knows that when you switch from the cowboy hat to the backwards hat, there is some shit going down. Like
Yeah.
this is some serious business. We're like, we gotta focus. We can't have a brim in our face. Like,
Yeah, I got to have the hair pulled back. That's where I got
yeah.
my thinking cap on. I'm
Mm-hmm.
working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that. I loved that it showed that. And while we're speaking about accessories and outfits and stuff,
Mhm.
I have to talk about the homage to the first movie, Helen Hunt,
Okay.
because they did it so well in this.
What was it?
So when Kate is like full tornado, like Wrangler mode,
Towards the end of the movie.
like further into the movie, yeah, she has the white tank top on, the brown coveralls, and she's got them tied around her waist.
Oh,
And that is
I missed that.
that is Helen Hunt.
Yeah.
That is her character in Twister. Like, I was just like, yes. Like, I was so excited to see that.
I half expected to see somebody come back from the first movie. I'm glad they didn't. That happens way too much. And like I said, I literally was expecting it. But
okay, so when they had Dorothy at the very beginning, I thought, oh, so before everyone dies, right?
Right.
I saw Dorothy and I was like, okay, I'm already assuming in my mind that they're going to be working for Helen Hunt or someone.
Yeah.
And I mean, we all know Bill Paxton has passed away, RIP. And so it's like, I thought maybe that's what we would be seeing or someone in that realm.
Yeah, I didn't have any idea. Like, I kind of went into this pretty blind, and I was just kind of hoping we wouldn't. And I appreciate that was really one of the few homages was just Dorothy in the beginning, And they were like, "Oh, this is the only way we have to collect data." And then they're like, "Well, actually, we have a new way to collect data through using military tech," which, of course, why wouldn't we? If we applied the military tech to everything we had in our world, we'd probably live a better life.
Like if I was gonna take down, which I'm like, the more I'm talking, the more I might come down to like a 90%, like 95. I don't know. But when what's his face comes back and he's like, I own Stormpar and I got all this tech from the military, it was like, motherfucker, who's getting tech from the military? Like, did you steal it? Because how else did you get it?
I think he was just talking. He was just like, yeah, I've got connections and I got hands on the technology or something like that. Because, I mean, if you know the companies that are creating it, you can probably, because, I mean, eventually all military tech becomes civilian in some form and manner. So.
Yeah, it felt a little like, I don't know. That part kind of annoyed me and it was super high tech, but when you find out how shady he is and like all the shit that he's doing on the background, it's like, oh, well, he probably does have like just bukus of money to get this stuff anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
You don't know that at the beginning.
Right. I was like, you can't trust a startup company where everybody dresses the same. You just can't. That's why you gotta, go out and do crazy things. Gotta be different. That's what happens. That's how you get real startups going. I will say, one of my beefs with this movie was that their trucks were barely damaged until the very end. Like there was two different scenes that had both the PAR truck and the Storm Tracer truck in the middle of a tornado section that's completely decimated, and both of their trucks are just dirty, but completely fine. And I was just, if it happened once, I would have been okay with it. But happening twice, I was like, oh,
I just want to say that this is kind of a full circle moment with Twister because, as we know, because of my mom, she pointed out that in the first Twister, a bicycle goes through the windshield.
mm-hmm.
And the next scene, the bicycle is gone. There's no damage to the windshield.
Yeah.
And so to me, I'm like, another homage to Twister. I'm just writing that one off. Like,
Oh, so forgiving. Which is fair. But I think there's just kind of a lot of these little things that have built to like why I'm giving it a 90%. But my 90% really is just because I loved the feeling of like I need to go chase storms. Like this was almost an inspirational movie for me, where I was just like, man, weather. I love weather. Like
yes.
we were just out in the rain the other day, just because like it's amazing. And then watching, something like this, I'm just like, wow, weather is crazy. We don't know enough about it. I mean, I think their science might be a little buku in this movie, but
Okay.
not the right word.
Word.
Make it up words, not the right word. Whatever.
But I just want to say, like, this is coming from a man who's literally stood at the end of a pier that was like disintegrating during a hurricane. So you would love to be a storm chaser. I think if you lived in Tornado Valley, you would do that. I legit think that you would.
I would definitely probably be the redneck recording a tornado
Yes.
while everyone's screaming, "Get in the bunker!" I'd be like, "Oh, not yet, Ma."
Not yet, Mom. I love how like there's a mom there. Is it me? I'm the mom.
I don't know. Maybe.
I'm like telling you, get your ass in the bunker.
Right? I'm like, I can't yet. This is good footage.
Mom, get in there.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't. This is definitely one of those movies where I'm forgiving of a lot of things, I feel, because I liked so much of it. And like you touched on the music earlier, like this movie is chocked full of like country music, which I'm not a fan of normally, but it did such a good job in this movie. Like I felt it throughout the movie.
Oh, the way that they used it though. So we have like pretty standard music, I would say, like at the beginning. And then we get a country music song. Well, first off, we got an amazing song that I forgot at the very beginning that Ramos is singing along with. And then but then our intro to all of the like freaking country music bangers is freaking Glen Powell showing up with his big ass truck, windows down, blaring his country music.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, there's something, the older I get, the more there is like nostalgia to that. Like, growing up in the South, like that is a regular occurrence. And I don't think I've ever seen it in a movie. Like, I mean, it just felt.
I'm sure it's happening something, and we're just not thinking of it.
Yeah, nothing that I've seen, like nothing that I give a shit about. And but this, I was like, oh, I know people like this. I've seen people like this, and it's like these people, just like in this movie, get a bad reputation. And you stereotype them to hell, and then you find out, oh, well, these are the only people that are going to help you. When shit hits the fan, these are the people that will help you.
Yeah, I mean, living in the South, like we know, like when we both went to high school, like in different states, but still in the South, like with those good old boys.
You were in like the deeper South.
Yeah, by some accounts, but Charleston's not really. I don't know. It's different there, but I still went to school with like those like good old boys that would drop anything to either have a good time or come and help at the drop of a hat.
I mean, hell, that's Blaine. I mean, Blaine is one of those people.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I think this movie did a great job with kind of like shedding these stereotypes. And like his crew was super diverse. They all had like a skill set. Like, I don't know. I mean, I liked that he had this open-minded perspective and had like a really awesome crew. And you look at fucking Storm Part, it's all men.
Yep.
and
all like semi-military-esque,
mm-hmm.
very straight-laced. We're
We're doing this
educated by the
book.
schools. We're gonna do it by the books.
Yeah.
And all that. Which, what I wanted to tell you earlier, his number 2, the other, like the bad guy.
Yeah.
That's the new Superman.
No fucking way.
Yes.
He got me with his Clark Kent looking motherfucking ass. He did look like Clark Kent.
That's the new Superman.
Okay, so I can see. Okay, this is like a total aside, but a lot of people are saying that they picked him. Well, a lot of people. I saw this on Twitter, so whatever. But I like this idea is they picked him because he can look like Clark Kent. Like it is believable that he is not Superman when he is Clark Kent. So that I like that. That's pretty fucking cool. Like I would have never known that was him ever.
Yeah, I saw an article. The way I found out was I saw an article today talking about he found out while he was on set filming that he had been cast.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and everyone was freaking out on set because they were like, "Oh shit! Like
that's
exciting. We're hanging out with the new Superman," which would be super exciting. So I just thought I'd share that little tidbit because I mean, you and I don't really know a lot of these side characters or actors.
He did look familiar, but you know who he reminded me of is that comedian. He was in It Part 2.
Doesn't know me at all.
Eddie Tozer in It. Oh God, what is his name?
It's okay. You don't have to worry about
it. I have to know what his name is.
I know. Can you tell me? All right, that's my musical number for the night, everybody. Okay.
Bill Hader.
Oh, gotta hate it.
I think is that how you say his name? Hader.
Probably. I don't know.
Anyway, that's who he looked like. That to me.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
And I was like, who is this guy? Like, he looks like Bill.
Yeah, Superman.
I don't know. And that's even more hilarious that he is Superman.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what did you think of the fire tornado?
I thought that was cool as fuck.
Part of me thought it was really cool. And then part of me was like, they're just trying to one up a flying cow.
Oh, I wanted them to just redo the flying cow. Like, I just wanted another flying cow, and what we got was chickens, and we didn't.
Well, he ran through a chicken coop.
Yeah, well, and then it's that scene where we have the chicken jump scare.
Yeah.
But I don't know, fire tornado. Like, the thing is they've happened before,
right? So
I'm not like opposed to it happening.
Yeah. God, could you imagine that actually happened? Like a tornado took out, I'm assuming that was some sort of power plant. I mean, we never really found out, but they had a high quantity of explosive material. And like, I couldn't even imagine if that actually happened. Maybe it has happened. And I just haven't heard about it because, I don't hear about every tornado related incident. But I feel like that would be epic to see.
I'm pretty sure that has legitimately happened, and we could probably go on TikTok and find a fire tornado like pretty easily,
right?
Because I feel it didn't feel abstract to me when I was seeing it, and I think I keep more up to date with tornado issues than you do, just because of where my family lives. But I don't know, it didn't bother me.
Yeah. I've just heard some people being like, it bothered me. And it didn't really bother me, but it was one of those things in this movie where the first one, most things were realistic. There's a couple things where people are like, that's not realistic. Like them holding on at the very end to like the water hole, the poles in the water, in the ground or whatever it was. Which your mom literally brought up. No, in the first movie.
Because the movie theater was like preposterous to me, if I'm going to talk about like preposterous.
That was another thing that was preposterous. There was a couple things where I'm like, I think you guys are just doing this to be dramatic. like that. But I think that was almost an homage to the first movie too, because it was the drive-in.
It was. The movie theater was definitely an homage to the drive-in for sure. I don't know. I mean, I'm giving this movie a lot of passes because it was just so fun. I don't care. It's kind of like Pacific Rim. Like there are
It's
obviously
literally one of the best movies ever
some
made.
issues to it, but they all get passes, every single one. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you a real issue. Now, if someone comes and talks to me about their issues,
Mhm.
and some of our friends have issues, um, with it, not just issues in general, but that's also true. Uh, but I can see where they're coming from, and I understand. I mean, there's a ton of mixed reviews for this on Criticless,
Oh yeah.
but I don't care. I freaking loved it, and I am not ashamed about how much I loved it. It was so fun. I had a big cheesy ass grin on my face. I literally stood at the front of the theater watching the credits like a big idiot, and just big grin on my face. I literally just wanted to dance at the end with
Yeah.
music.
Yeah. Well, that's another
I
thing.
just loved it.
So speaking of the ending, I really liked how throughout the story we have the British reporter Ben,
Yep.
and how we see his story shifting, and even Glen Powell's character was like, "Your story is not going to be about me. It's going to be about her. Like,
Yeah.
she's the it factor.
The intrigue, as he put it.
She's the intrigue. She's the one that's solving the problem here. Like,
Mhm.
and then at the very end, we got to see like behind the scene footage, which will now like making of the movie, but like Ben's like pictures and things like that. So we got the nice like extra element.
In the actual write-up, like we see some of his article and like what happens, and you see, oh, the three main characters have formed a partnership,
Mhm.
and you kind of get that a little bit at the end when Ramos is like taking her to the airport, and he's like, okay, this is your pitch, and she's like, don't you want to do the pitch? And you realize then that they're in a partnership, but it's really all three of them have entered into this partnership and to help people. And it was a really cool full circle moment for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I don't know if I have anything else to bring up. What about you, Z?
Oh, okay. I did want to say one last thing. So something else that may have swayed this movie for me is I walked into the theater when it was about to just pour down rain, a really bad thunderstorm. And so it was super dark clouds, like really, really windy, like just the perfect ambiance to walk into this movie.
Yeah.
And then when I come out of the movie, the storm has cleared. It's off to the west or east or whatever the fuck direction. And I don't know directions. And
the directions
because I felt like I needed to say something. And but it's off, it's away.
Yeah.
And I can tell that it has like poured, there's like debris everywhere. I don't know. It just was like the perfect like thing to come out to.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck yeah. Like I just saw a tornado movie. And,
Yeah.
it's a storm here. I don't know. It just felt awesome.
I mean, that would be an awesome ending because, it ends on a high note and you walk outside and you're like kind of reliving and you smell the rain. It just happened.
Yeah. Like I definitely drove home, windows down, this friggin' soundtrack blasting.
Oh, I'm sure.
I was just blasting people with my country music, just like Glen Powell. Except I wasn't in a big truck. Like I wish I was in a big truck.
Yeah. I hear you. All right. So, last thing we wanted to, there's two more things we're going to do. First, we're going to look at Criticless, just to kind of look at some of the scores.
Mm-hmm.
Then I don't think you'll be able to see the screen. So this currently, as we said earlier, only has 9 votes. One more, and we'll have an official audience score. But we can kind of go ahead and guesstimate. We've got, got a couple decents here. We got a rad, a bogus, Now, this person didn't even write in English. I don't think this is.
It's a bot. I
This
swear.
has got to be a bot.
I
This
was
isn't
like, I
even
don't
Latin, I don't
know.
think.
Well, not
Well, it's
that
habeas. Oh, no, that's not even habeas. It's
habeas.
habeas corpus.
Oh, the like I
No,
thought
that's why I was
program
trying to think
language.
this was.
No, I don't think it's a bot actually because I went and looked at their other reviews but they've been downvoted into oblivion. So
Yeah,
they have other normal reviews. I don't know why they did that for this one.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't appreciate if people don't actually write their thoughts.
Well, you don't have to write anything. Just don't write anything.
Right. Yeah, we call those low flying ship missiles around here. But we also have some rad. We have a most excellent. I mean, it's been all over the place.
Mhm.
Like, I think based on what I'm seeing here, when this is averaged out, either going to be a high decent or a low rad. I mean, once we add ours, both to
It'll
more
probably be
most
a
excellent,
rad.
I think we'll be sitting at a rad. And I won't be surprised by the end of the weekend if we have, I don't know, 20 plus reviews. So
That would be great. Get out there and review, y'all.
yeah, get out here and review. All right, now Zena and I are going to do something we haven't done in a hot minute. We're going to do some send off songs because we always love to give you guys some tunes. There is a playlist on our YouTube channel that is songs that we always suggest. We just haven't done in a while due to several factors.
Laziness. I don't know.
Technical issues, tiredness, a variety of things, even though we're here at almost 2:30 doing this here and now. I'll go first. I did not pick a song from this movie because I've not listened to the soundtrack enough to think if I actually like country music or not. So I'm going to do a song. I did this many years ago. I still listen to this song on a regular basis, and it's called Terminus by, nope, it's called The Abyss by Termina. This is a heavy metal song. It's got a nice like blah in there, you know. It really just like gets you going. It pumps me up. I love it. So
This has been on his like top Spotify list like every year.
at
for, like,
least 2
5
years.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I am gonna do a song from the movie because I love Lainey Wilson, and she did a song and I recognized it immediately as her, and it is Out of Oklahoma, and it just is it's like a love letter to Oklahoma or like your home state. Like, I just
Yeah.
really liked it, and I will definitely have it on repeat.
Nice.
All right, y'all. It's been good. Thanks for having me. Come find me at Wine Fiend on Criticless.
All right, everybody. Thank you for checking out this review of Twisters. Next week, we are reviewing Deadpool and Wolverine. And then we'll also be back doing news next week. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great day and stay safe.